So we are reading Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss. And we are on chapter 8, page number 68 of the PDF.
An illness? Suddenly, it dawned on me that she was again touching on an ancient lifetime, one that she had regressed to previously. In that lifetime, a waterborne plague had killed Catherine's father and one of her brothers. Catherine had also suffered from the illness, but she had not died from it. The people used garlic and other herbs to try and ward off the plague. Catherine had been upset because the dead were not being properly embalmed. But now we had approached that lifetime from a different angle. Does it have something to do with the water? I asked.
So again, we can look at lifetimes from different angles, from different perspectives, right? So from one perspective, it may be a problem. From another perspective, it may be a lesson. So again, we can look at stuff from different perspectives.
They believe so. Many people are dying. I already knew the ending. But you don't die, not from this. No, I do not die. But you get sick. You become ill. Yes, I'm very cold, very cold. I need water, water. They think it comes from the water and something black, someone dies. Who dies? My father dies and one brother dies also. My mother is okay. She recovers. She is very weak. They must bury the people. They must bury them. And people are upset because it's against religious practices. What was the practice? I marveled at the consistency of her recall. Fact for fact, exactly as she had recounted the lifetime several months ago. Again, this deviation from the normal burial customs greatly upset her. People were put in caves. The bodies were kept in caves. But first, the bodies had to be prepared by the priests. They must be wrapped and anointed. They were kept in caves, but the land is flooding. They say the water is bad. Don't drink the water. Is there a way of treating it? Did anything work? We were given herbs, different herbs, the odors, the herbs, and the smell. The odor, I can smell it.
So again, when we are going into these altered states, we can actually, all our sensory perception can also work. This is something that even in the Gateway Voyage or in the advanced development healing, advanced development healing development, they, you can actually enhance each of your sensory perceptions also. So when in an altered state, the sensory perception actually can get very heightened.
Do you recognize the smell? It's white. They hang it from the ceiling. Is it like garlic? It's hung around. The properties are similar, yes. Its properties. You put it in your mouth, your ears, your nose, everywhere. The odor was strong. It was believed to block the evil spirits from entering your body. Purple, fruit or something round with purple covering, purple skin to it. Do you recognize the culture that you're in? Does it feel familiar? I don't know. Is the purple a fruit of some sort? Tannis. Would that help you? Is that for the illness? It was at that time. Tannis, I repeated again, trying to see if she was talking about what we refer to as tannin or tannic acid. Is that what they called it? Tannis? I keep hearing tannis. What in this lifetime has buried itself in your current lifetime? Why do you keep coming back here? What is it that is so uncomfortable? The religion, Catherine quickly whispered. The religion of that time. It was a religion of fear. Fear. There were so many things to fear and so many gods. Do you remember the names of any gods? I see eyes. I see a black, some type of, looks like a jackal. He's in a statue. He's a guardian of some type. I see a woman, a goddess, with some type of headpiece on. Do you know her name, the goddess? Osiris, Cirrus, something like that. I see an eye, just an eye on a chain. It's gold. An eye? Yes. Who is Hathor? What? Hathor. Well, who is that? I had never heard of Hathor, although I knew that Orisis, of if the pronunciation was accurate, was the brother husband of Isis, a major Egyptian deity. Hathor, I later learned, was the Egyptian goddess of love, mirth, and joy. Is it one of the gods? I asked.
So again, when you look at most religions have a fear factor involved in the religion because the priest class wants to keep control over the population, right? But actually, when you're looking at spirituality will always deal with freedom, but religion will deal with fear. So again, over here, there was fear in the religion.
So, Hathor, there was a long pause. Bird, he's flat, a phoenix. She was silent again. Go ahead in time now to your final day in that lifetime. Go to your final day. But before you have died, tell me what you see. She answered in a very soft whisper. I see people and buildings. I see sandals. There is a rough cloth, some type of rough cloth. What happens? Go to the time of your dying now. What happens to you? You can see it. I do not see it. I don't see me anymore. Where are you? What do you see? Nothing, just darkness. I see a light, a warm light. She had already died, already passed over to the spiritual state. Apparently, she did not need to experience her actual death again.
So again, as we start getting experienced in the act of dying, we can move faster into the spiritual realm, right? That's why it's very important for us to actually understand what happens after we die. And at least in the Hindu culture, we read something called the Garud Puran. Although the Garud Puran leads to a lot of fear in people, mainly because the Pandits, they don't know how to read it and how to interpret what is given in there. There's a Egyptian book of death and dying. Of course, there's the Tibetan book of the death and dying also, right? So what do you experience after you go into that, into the afterlife state?
May I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
What does this sentence mean and why? I mean, apparently she did not need to experience her actual death again. What is this?
That's exactly what I said, that once you start getting used to it, then you do not need to experience the death process again. As soon as you leave the body, pataksi, you'll go into the expanded state of consciousness. So over here, she clearly says, there is nothing, just darkness. I see a light. I see a warm light. She had already died and passed over into the spiritual state. So she died and passed over into the spiritual state. For example, when you look at it from the Monroe terminology basis, if you know when you are in focus 21, right, you are still connected with the physical body.
Yeah.
As soon as you transcend 21, you're going into the spiritual realms. Now, if you've never been to the spiritual realm, then you can get stuck in 22 or in 23. But if you've been to the spiritual realms, then ideally, where should you go?
27.
Exactly. So as soon as you go directly into 27, right?
So here she's not understanding that she's dead. She's just gone to.
Correct. She's gone into the spiritual state.
Yeah. Okay.
So once you are in the spiritual state, once you're in 27, then you don't need to understand anything, right? You're already there. Yeah. There's no need for any understanding.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you come to the light? I asked. I am going. She was resting peacefully, waiting again. Can you look backward now on the lessons of that lifetime? Are you aware of them yet?
Okay,
No.
so again over here, what is she saying? She's resting peacefully, waiting again. So when we go into focus 27, many times we wait over there, we relax over there, we regroup ourselves, we start taking a decision as to where we need to go and what we need to achieve and what we need to do, right? Before we get into the next life, looking at it from the perspective of our timeline, right? Of course, in those expanded states, there is no time and there is no space. So everything is happening at the same time. So now she's asking, he's asking her, can you look at the lessons? So the life review, basically, right? We all go there and then we review ourselves as to did we achieve what we wanted to achieve in that particular lifetime.
No, she whispered. She continued to wait. Suddenly, she appeared alert, although her eyes remained closed, as they always did when she was in hypnotic trances. Her head was turning from side to side. What are you seeing now? What's happening? Her voice was louder. I feel someone's talking to me. What do they say? Talking about patience. One must have patience.
So this
Yes.
is one of the biggest lessons, right? Patience. We are all in a hurry, right? Because we feel that we have a finite amount of time in which to achieve anything. Whereas when we are going into expanded states, because time doesn't exist, you have all the time to achieve whatever you want to achieve. That's why over there, patience, and over here also, a big lesson that all of us need to learn is patience.
Yes, go on. The answer came from the poet master. Patience and timing. Everything comes when it must come. A life cannot be rushed, cannot be worked on a schedule, as so many people want it to be. We must accept what comes to us at a given time and not ask for more. But life is endless, so we never die. We were never really born. We just pass through different phases. There is no end. Humans have many dimensions, but time is not as we see time, but rather in lessons that are learned.
So again, this is a very important paragraph over here. Clearly, the guide is saying, the master is saying that life cannot be rushed. You have to allow what comes into your life and not ask for more. So we go back to the 4 S's that we keep talking about. The 4 S's are Swata, that means that it comes by itself into your life. Sahaj, that means it is easy for you to do. Number 3 is that it is for the greater good, Shresht, and Swikar, that is we accept it. So these are the 4 things that he is totally mentioning over here. He is clearly saying that whatever comes at us at a given time, we must accept it, right? We must swikar it. And also time never ends. So we have to have patience in what we are doing. And in the process of having patience, we actually learn a lot also. So we actually have all the tools necessary for us to perform the task that is coming into our life. Otherwise, it would not have come into our life. And of course, it is always for the greater good. Yes, Aisha?
Sorry, Niket, what is Swata, the first one?
Swata means by itself. So what is he saying over here? Like, a life cannot be rushed, cannot be worked on as a schedule as so many people want it. We must accept what comes to us at a given time. This is what Swata means, right? We must accept what comes to us at a given time. Okay, and not ask for more. So we must allow it to come when it comes, and we must accept it. So that is Swikar.
There was a long pause. The poet master continued. Everything will be clear to you in time, but you must have a chance to digest the knowledge that we have given you already. Catherine was silent. Is there more I should learn? I asked. They've gone, she whispered softly. I don't hear anybody.
So again, over here, very clearly the masters are indicating that most of what is transpiring is actually for Dr. Brian Weiss. It's not for Catherine. Catherine's healing is taking place on auto mode. As soon as she's connecting with those spiritual states, her healing is already taking place.
Each week, another layer of neurotic fears and anxieties was stripped away from Catherine. Each week, she appeared a bit more serene, a bit softer, and more patient. She was more confident, and people were drawn to her. Catherine felt more loving, and others gave love back to her. The inner diamond that was her true personality was shining brightly and brilliantly for everyone to see.
So the basic point that she was touching these spiritual realms did an auto clearing in her field, right? So once the field starts to clear, automatically you become more resilient, you become brighter, you become more happier, you're more filled with joy. So automatically people start getting attracted to you. And naturally, all the layering that we have on top of us, all the muck that we carry, once it's cleared up, then the true diamond or the true being of our personalities ultimately starts to shine through.
Catherine's regressions spanned millennia. Each time she entered a hypnotic trance, I had no idea where the threads of her life would emerge. From prehistoric caves to ancient Egypt to modern times, she had been there. And all of her lives had been lovingly overseen somewhere beyond time by the masters. In today's session, she emerged in the 20th century, but not as Catherine.
So again, we can be in all different states of consciousness. We can have multiple lifetimes all at the same time. So you can see very clearly that he's saying that she was jumping from prehistoric time to modern time, right? And everything in between. Now, where was it happening? In our perception, there is a timeline, but in those expanded states, everything is happening at the same time. That's why she can jump from one state to the other.
I see a fuselage and an airstrip, some kind of airstrip, she whispered softly. Do you know where it is? I can't see. Alsatian? Then more definitely, Alsatian. In France? I don't know, just Alsatian. I see the name Von Marx. Von Marx. Some type of brown helmet or a hat with goggles on it. The troop has been destroyed. It appears to be a very remote area. I don't think there's a town nearby. What do you see? I see buildings destroyed. I see buildings. The land is torn up from bombings. There's a very well hidden area. What are you doing? I'm helping them with the wounded. They're carrying them away. Look at yourself. Describe yourself. Look down and see what you're wearing. I have some type of jacket on. I have blonde hair. I have blue eyes. My jacket is very dirty. There are many wounded people. Are you trained to help with the wounded? No. Do you live there or were you bought there? Where do you live? I don't know. About how old are you? 35. Catherine herself was 29 and she had hazel eyes, not blue. I continued the questioning. Do you have a name? Is it on the jacket? There are wings on the jacket. I'm a pilot, some type of pilot. You fly the airplanes? Yes, I have to. Who makes you fly? I'm in service to fly. That's my job. Do you drop bombs too? We have a gunner on the plane. There's a navigator. What type of plane do you fly? Some type of chopper plane. It has 4 propellers. It's a fixed wing. I was amused because Catherine knew nothing about airplanes. I wondered what she would think fixed wing meant. But like the making of butter or the embalming of the deceased, Under hypnosis, she possessed a vast store of knowledge. Only a fraction of this knowledge, however, was available to her every day. Conscious mind, I pressed on.
So again, when we are in these expanded states, our ability to perceive, our knowledge and information is so much, let's say, right? When we come here, it gets compressed and we don't know so much. When we transcend again, that knowledge comes back. But we learn from the experience that we've had in this earth life existence.
Do you have a family? They are not with me. Are they safe? I don't know. I'm afraid. Afraid they will come back. My friends are dying. Who are you afraid will come back? The enemy. Who are they? The English, the American armed forces, the English. Yes.
So very, very clearly, he's a German pilot, right? He's a German soldier.
Yes. Do you remember your family? Remember it? There's too much confusion. Let's go back in the same lifetime, back to a happier time, before the war, the time with your family back at home. You can see that. I know it's hard, but I want you to relax. Try and remember. Catherine paused. Then I whispered. I hear the name Eric. Eric, I see a blonde-haired child, a girl. Is that your daughter? Yes, it must be Margot. Is she close to you? She's with me. We're on a picnic. The day is beautiful. Is anyone else there with you besides Margot? I see a woman with brown hair sitting on the grass. Is she a wife? Yes, I don't know her. She added, referring to a recognition of someone in Catherine's present lifetime.
So again, what she's attempting to do is to figure out that whoever she's visiting in the past life, technically past life, whether they are existing in the current life also. Again, soul groups, right? We have soul groups which normally travel together. So there'll be many overlaps. Who I've experienced here in this life, I'm experiencing again in the current life.
Margot. Look at Margot closely. Do you know her? Yes, but I'm not sure how. I knew her from somewhere. It will come to you. Look into her eyes. It's Judy, she answered. Judy was presently Catherine's best friend. There had been an instant rapport at their first meeting, and they had become true friends, implicitly trusting each other, knowing the other's thoughts and needs before they were verbalized.
So again, she was Catherine's friend Judy, right? So there was a resonance already there. So as soon as they came into contact, that resonance came into action and they became good friends.
Judy, I repeated. Yes, Judy. She looks like her. She smiles like her. Yes, that's good. Are you happy at home or are there problems? There are no problems. Yes, it is a time of unrest. There's a problem deep in the German government, the political structure. Too many people want to move in too many directions. It will eventually tear us apart. But I must fight for my country. Do you still have strong feelings for your country? I dislike war. I feel it is wrong to kill, but I must do my duty. Go back now, back to where you were, to the plane on the ground and the bombings and the war. It's later. The war has started. The English and the Americans are dropping bombs near you. Go back. Do you see the plane again? Yes. Do you still have the same feelings about duty and killing and war? Yes. We will die for nothing. What? We will die for nothing, she repeated in a louder whisper. Nothing? Why for nothing? Is there no glory in it? No defense of your land or your loved ones? We will die for defending the ideas of a few people.
So again, always whenever war happens, it is the few people right at the top who are deciding what to do, right? Or if something is going against their ideology or something is going against their wishes. That is how all wars ultimately start.
Even though these were the leaders of your country, they can be wrong. She quickly cut me off. They are not leaders. If they were leaders, there would not be so much internal strife in government.
This is beautifully said, right? If a true leader will not have strife, he will actually lead the country in a very, very perfect manner, right? We have very few true leaders nowadays.
Some people call them mad. Does this make sense to you? Power crazy? We must all be mad to be driven by them, to allow them to drive us, to kill people and to kill ourselves. Have you any friends left? Yes, there are still some alive. Are there any that you are particularly close to in your airplane crew? Are your gunner and your navigator still alive? I don't see them, but my plane wasn't destroyed. Do you fly again in the plane? Yes, we must hurry to get the remaining aircraft off the strip before they return. Go into your plane. I don't want to go. It was as if she could negotiate with me. But you must get it off the ground. It's so senseless. What kind of profession did you have before the war? Do you remember? What did Eric do? I was second in command on a small plane, some plane flying cargo. So you were a pilot then too? Yes. That took you away from home a lot? She answered very softly, wistfully. Yes. Go ahead in time, I instructed, to the next flight. Can you do that? There is no next flight. Does something happen to you? Yes. Her breath was accelerating. She was becoming agitated. She had gone ahead to the day of her death. What's happening? I'm running from the fire. My party is being torn apart by the fire. Do you survive this? Nobody survives. Nobody survives a war. I'm dying. Her breathing was heavy. Blood is everywhere. I have a pain in my chest. I've been hit in my chest and my leg and my neck. It's so much pain. She was in agony, but soon her breathing slowed and became more regular. Her facial muscles relaxed and a look of peacefulness came over her. I recognized the calm of the transition state.
So again, when a person is
Is it over?
when a person is transiting, generally speaking, a calm comes over them. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Shipya.
You look more comfortable. Is it over? She paused, then answered very softly. I'm floating away from my body. I have no body. I'm in spirit again. Good. Rest. You've had a difficult lifetime. You went through a difficult death. You need to rest. Restore yourself. What did you learn from that lifetime? I learned about hate, senseless killing, misdirected hate. People who hate and they don't know why. We are driven to it by the evil when we are in the physical state. Is there a higher duty than duty to the country? Something that could have prevented you from killing, even if you were ordered. A duty to yourself? Yes, but she did not elaborate.
So again, most of the time, when you go into these expanded states, war is not something that is condoned over there, right? It happens over here because of the ego. It is basically the ego which is driving war. If you really go into expanded states, then love is what is the prominent emotion which is there. It is not fear. War will always create fear.
Are you waiting for something now? Yes, I'm waiting to go into a state of renewal. I must wait. They will come for me. They will come.
So again, she knows that she will be received. Once she has left this physical body, someone will come to guide her into an altered state, to the higher states.
Good. I would like to talk with them when they come. We waited for several more minutes. Then, abruptly, her voice was loud and husky, and the original master spirit, not the poet master, was speaking. You were correct in assuming this is the proper treatment for those in the physical state. You must eradicate the fears from their minds. It is a waste of energy when fear is present.
So this is very important, right? It is a waste of energy when fear is present. And when we look at it from the grid, whenever you're operating from fear, you're on the left side of the grid, which depletes your energy in any case, right? So this is very important. Whenever fear is present, it is taking away energy from you. So we must transcend all the fears that we have at the end of the day.
It stifles them from fulfilling what they were sent here to fulfill. Take your cues from your surroundings. They must first be put into a level very deep, where they no longer can feel their body. Then you can reach them. It's only on the surface that the troubles lie. Deep within their soul, where the ideas are created, that is where you must reach them.
So again, this is a concept of inception, right? I don't know how many of you all have seen the movie Inception, but that idea is placed right deep down in depths of the conscious awareness or the consciousness which comes out. So what she's saying very clearly here is that you must take cues from the surrounding. So the universe talks to you. This is something that we experienced in Agora, the left hand of God, when we were reading that, where the hero of the Vakta, I think it was Vimalananda, he was always observing what is happening around him. And he was constantly taking cues from his surroundings. So what are the surroundings? It's basically the universal consciousness is speaking to him through what is in the surrounding. And then when we can go into the depth of our consciousness, that is when the true ours, the true self starts to shine out.
Energy. Everything is energy. So much is wasted. The mountains, inside the mountain, it is quiet. It is calm at the center. But on the outside is where the trouble lies. Humans can only see the outside, but you can go much deeper. You have to see the volcano. To do it, you have to go deep inside. To be in physical state is abnormal. When you are in spiritual state, that is natural to you. When we are sent back, it is like being sent back to something we do not know. It will take us longer. In the spirit world, you have to wait. And
Shikha, just
you are
1 second, just hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so one thing over here, she is saying that energy is wasted, right? The mountains, inside the mountain, it is quiet. So now when you see anything, everything always has a center. And in the center, there's always peace, there's always calm. The problem always lies in the periphery. So if we can get to the center, which is the fulcrum of anything happening, automatically things start to get calm. The idea is to get to the center.
It will take us longer. In the spirit world, you have to wait and then you are renewed. There is a state of renewal. It's a dimension like the other dimensions, and you have almost succeeded in reaching that state. This caught me by surprise. How could I be approaching the state of renewal? I have almost reached it, I asked incredulously. Yes, you know so much more than the others. You understand so much more. Be patient with them. They don't have the knowledge that you have. Spirits will be sent back to help you, but you are correct in what you are doing. Continue. This energy must not be wasted. You must get rid of the fear. That will be the greatest weapon that you have.
So at the end of the day, we need to keep transcending fear. Okay, just 1 second. There's something else.
The master spirit was silent. I pondered the meaning of this incredible message. I knew I was successfully getting rid of Catherine's fears, but this message had a more global meaning. It was more than just a confirmation of the effectiveness of a hypnosis that as a therapeutic tool. It involved even more than past life regressions, which would be difficult to apply to the general population, one by one. No, I believed it concerned the fear of death, which is the deep fear within the volcano.
So again, over here, the fear of death is something that we need to all transcend. This is the biggest fear that all of us actually have.
The fear of death, that hidden, constant fear that no amount of money or power can neutralize. This is the core. But if people knew that life is endless, so we never die, we were never really born, then this fear would dissolve. If they knew that they had lived countless times before and would live countless times again, how reassured they would feel. If they knew that spirits were around to help them while they were in physical state, and that after death, in spiritual state, they would join these spirits, including their deceased loved ones, how comforted would they be?
So again, this is very important, something that you can, if you can actually experience this, you can actually, go into a state of consciousness where this becomes real for you. Your fear of death definitely gets transmuted. Okay, and this is something which happens in the Lifeline program, where actually you experience exactly what he is saying over here. And you actually meet your loved ones, you can go and connect with them. There is no death, actually, when you look at it from that expanded state of consciousness. And these spirits, the guides, they're always there to help and support us in whatever we are doing.
If they knew that guardian angels really did exist, how much safer they would feel. If they knew that acts of violence and injustices against people did not go unnoted, but had to be repaid in kind in other lifetimes, how much less anger and desire for vengeance would they harbor?
So again, this is the concept of karma, right? Whatever you sow, that is what you will blow. So again, the moment we start understanding these processes, then automatically we start cooling down. We start being more in the right side of the grid, more out of compassion, gentleness, love. That's how we start operating.
And if indeed By knowledge, we approach God. Of what use are material possessions or power when they are an end in themselves and not a means to that approach? To be greedy or power hungry has no value whatsoever. But how to reach people with this knowledge? Most people recite prayers in their churches, synagogues, mosques, or temples, prayers that proclaim the immortality of the soul. Yet, after worship is over, they go back into their competitive ruts, practicing greed and manipulation and self-centeredness.
So again, basically, what is spirituality all about? It's about giving, it's about serving, it's about helping, right? It's about growing. But when you're looking at it from the materialistic process or from the small guy, the ego-centered self, everything is self-centered, right? We are constantly wanting to grab things for ourselves rather than really spread the love.
It's retard the progress of the soul. So, if faith is not enough, perhaps science will help. Perhaps experiences such as Catherine's and mine need to be studied, analyzed, and reported in a detached, scientific manner by people trained in the behavioral and physical sciences. Yet, at this time, writing a scientific paper or a book was the furthest thing from my mind, a remote and most unlikely possibility. I wondered about the spirits who would be sent back to help me. Help me do what? Catherine stirred and began to whisper. Someone named Gideon. Someone named Gideon. Gideon. He's trying to talk to me. What does he say? He's all around. He won't stop. He's some type of guardian, something. But he's playing with me now. Is he one of your guardians? Yes, but he's playing. He's just jumping all around. I think he wants me to know he's all around me, everywhere.
So again, when we go into these expanded states, there's a lot of humor, right? There's double meaning to stuff that we are receiving. And also there's a lot of symbolism. So when we are going into these states, we have to develop a language of our own to be able to understand and communicate properly in those states, right? Because the normal communication generally does not work. You have to talk in symbols.
Gideon, I repeated, he's there. Does it make you feel safer? Yes, he'll be back when I need him. Good. Are there spirits around us? She answered in a whisper from the perspective of her superconscious mind. Oh, yes, many spirits. They only come when they want to. They come when they want to. We are all spirits, but others, some are in physical state and others are in a period of renewal. And others are guardians, but we all go there. We have been guardians too.
So again, spirits are there. They can come and go when they want to, right? Some spirits are transiting. Some are in physical state. They've taken physical form. Others are acting as guardians. So we all have these states of consciousness. Sometimes, because we do not know where we are, we can get stuck also. It is said that the earth life system is very, very addictive. The moment you come here, you want to keep coming back here, keep coming back here, keep coming back here. So that's why it's very difficult to break out of the earth life system. But having said that, ultimately, when you transcend from here, having learned all the lessons here, you are considered a god over there, right? The kind of knowledge and information that you have makes you a very powerful being in those other expanded states, in those realms when we get there. Because of that experience that we garner here. So we've been in all sorts of states ourselves also.
Why do we come back to learn? Why can't we learn as spirits? Those are different levels of learning. And we must learn some of them in the flesh. We must feel the pain. When you're a spirit, you feel no pain. It is a period of renewal. Your soul is being renewed. When you're in a physical state, in the flesh, you can feel pain, you can hurt. In spiritual form, you do not feel. There is only happiness, a sense of well being. But it's a renewal period for us. The interaction between people in the spiritual form is different. When you are in physical state, you can experience relationships.
So again, this is exactly what I said, right? The earth life experience allows you to experience many things that you're unable to experience in the spirit form.
Understand, it will be okay. She had become silent again. Minutes passed. I see a carriage, she began. A blue carriage. A baby carriage? No, a carriage that you ride in. Something blue. A blue fringe on the top. Blue outside. 2 horses pull the carriage. It has big wheels. I don't see anybody in it, but just 2 horses hitched to it. A gray one and a brown one. The horse's name is Apple. The gray one, because he likes apples. The other one's name is Duke. They are very nice. They won't bite you. They have big feet. Big feet. Is there a mean horse too? A different horse? No, they are being very nice. Are you there? Yes, I can see his nose. He's so much bigger than I am. Do you ride the carriage? By the nature of her responses, I knew she was a child. There are horses. There's a boy too. How old are you? Very little. I don't know. I don't think I know how to count. Do you know the boy? Your friend, your brother? He's a neighbor. He's there for some party. They're having a wedding or something. Do you know who's getting married? No. We were told not to get dirty. I have brown hair, shoes that button on the side all the way up. Are these your party clothes? Good clothes? It's a white, some type of white dress with something roughly over it, and it ties in the back. Is your house nearby? It's a big house, the child answered. Is that where you live? Yes. Good. You can look into the house now. It's okay. It's an important day. Other people will be dressed well too, wearing special clothes. They're cooking food, lots of food. Can you smell it? Yes, they're making some type of bread. Bread, meat. We're told to go back outside again. I was amused at this. I had told her it was all right to go inside, and now she had been ordered out again. Do they call your name? Mandy, and Edward. Is he the boy? Yes. They won't let you stay in the house. No, they're too busy. How do you feel about that? We don't care, but it's hard to stay clean. We can't do anything. Do you get to the wedding later that day? Yes, I see many people. It's crowded in the room. It's a hot day. And there's a person there. The parson's there with a funny hat, a big hat, black. It comes out over his face, quite a ways. Is this a happy time for your family? Yes. Do you know who is getting married? Just my sister. Is she much older? Yes. Do you see her now? Is she wearing her wedding dress? Yes. Is she pretty? Yes. She has lots of flowers around her hair. Look at her closely. Do you know her from another time? Look at her eyes, her mouth. Yes, I think she's Becky, but smaller, much smaller. Becky was Catherine's friend and co-worker. They were close, yet Catherine resented Becky's judgmental attitude and her intrusiveness into Catherine's life and decisions. After all, she was a friend, not family. But perhaps the distinction was now not so clear. She likes me, and I can stand near the front because she does.
So now again, in the past life, Becky was her elder sister, right? So now in this life, Becky is attempting to behave like her elder sister. So that resonance keeps coming. Okay. This is also something that we need to understand. we can feel this with various people in our lives, that in some other lifetime, for lack of a better word to explain it, the relationship may have been there. That's why the person acts in that particular manner. Shipya, you're muted. Okay.
Sorry, can you just give me one moment?
What
Just one-
happened?
I just one. Good. Look around you. Are your parents there? Yes. Do they like you as much? Yes. That's good. Look at them closely. First, your mother. See if you remember her. Look at her face. Catherine took several deep breaths. I don't know her. Look at your father. Look at him closely. Look at his expression, his eyes, also his mouth. Do you know him? He's Stuart, she quickly answered. So Stuart had surfaced once again. This was worth exploring further. What's your relationship with him like? I love him very much. He's very good to me. But he thinks I'm a nuisance. He thinks children are nuisances. Is he too serious? No, he likes to play with us, but we ask too many questions. But he's very good to us, except we ask too many questions. Does that sometimes annoy him? Yes. We must learn from the teacher, not from him. That is why we go to school, to learn. That sounds like him talking. Does he say that to you? Yes. He has more important things to do. He must run the farm. Is it a big farm? Yes. Do you know where it is? No. Do they ever mention the city or the state, the name of the town? She paused, listening carefully. I don't hear that. She was silent again. Okay. Do you want to explore more in this lifetime? To go ahead in time? Or is this? She cut me off. This is enough. During this entire process with Catherine, I had been reluctant to discuss her revelations with other professionals. Actually, except for Carol and a few others who were safe, I had not shared this remarkable information with others at all. I knew the knowledge from our sessions was both true and extremely important, yet anxiety about the reactions of my professional and scientific colleagues caused me to keep silent. I was still concerned with my reputation, career, and what others thought of me. My
So this is something, that is very, very clear. Even Robert Monroe, after he started having his out-of-body experiences, he really could not talk to anyone because this was all under the carpet with the witch hunts and this and that. If any professional spoke about these things, they were orchestrated from the profession, right? People started thinking that they're crazy. In fact, I have had people, when I've spoken to them about something, and then I've turned around and there's a mirror there, I've seen people do things like this, right? So most people think that what we are doing here is all crazy, but that's not a fact. But that is what is out there in the world, right? So naturally, people are very skeptical of coming out with these kinds of things.
My personal skepticism had been eroded by the proofs that week after week fell from her lips. I would often replay the audio tapes and re-experience the sessions with all their drama and immediacy. But the others would have to rely on my experiences, powerful, but nevertheless not their own. I felt compelled to gather even more data. As I gradually accepted and believed the messages, my life became simpler and more satisfying. There was no need to play games, to pretend, to act out roles, or to be other than what I was.
So again, the therapist is also getting treated, right, in the process of treating. So the therapist always learns from their patients.
Relationships became more honest and direct. Family life was less confusing and more relaxed. My reluctance to share the wisdom that had been given to me through Catherine began to diminish.
So again, once it became normal for him to experience these things, it will automatically start becoming normal for him to share his experiences.
Surprisingly, most people were very interested and wanted to know more. Many told me of their very private experiences of parapsychological events, whether ESP, deja vu, out of body experiences, past life dreams, or others.
So again, everyone has had some kind of experience, right? But they don't know who to talk to. So when you start talking to them, they start feeling that you're a safe space in which they can talk about all these things. And then the stuff starts to come out. I would say that 9 out of 10 people have had some kind of experience or the other.
Many had never even told their spouses about these experiences. People were almost uniformly afraid that by sharing their experiences, others, even their own families and therapists, would consider them odd or strange. Yet, these parapsychological events are fairly common, much more frequent than people realize. It is only the reluctance to tell others about psychic occurrences that makes them seem rare. And the more highly trained are the most reluctant to share.
So this is a fact, right? Physicists, scientists are not willing to listen. So many doctors are simply not willing to listen, right? You will find that nurses know about these things more than the doctors. They are much more aware about these phenomenon because they talk to the patients, right? The doctors never talk to the patients. So they will never get to hear all these things. And even if they hear it, they will debunk it. So that's why people are very, very skeptical of telling any highly educated and trained person about these things.
The respected chairman of a major clinical department in my hospital is a man who is admired internationally for his expertise. He talks to his deceased father, who has several times protected him from serious danger. Another professor has dreams that provide the missing steps or solutions to his complex research experiments.
So again, when we are going into altered states, we can get a lot of information, guidance, ideas which can come through.
The dreams are invariably correct. Another well-known doctor usually knows who is calling him on the phone before he answers it. The wife of the chairman of psychiatry at a Midwestern university has a PhD in psychology. Her research projects are always carefully planned and executed. She had never told anyone that when she first visited Rome, she moved through the city as if she had a roadmap imprinted in her memory. She unerringly knew what was around the next corner. Although she had never been to Italy previously and did not know the language, Italians repeatedly approached her in Italian, continually mistaking her for a native. Her mind struggled to integrate her experiences in Rome.
So again, she must have visited there at some other point in time, which was not in her conscious memory.
I understood why these highly trained professionals remained in the closet. I was one of them. We could not deny our own experiences and senses. Yet, our training was in many ways diametrically opposite to the information, experiences, and beliefs we had accumulated. So we remained quiet.
So we can stop here. So now again, what happens is that because the training that you receive, I mean, these professionals receive is very, very, opposite of what is all these paranormal phenomenon are, they don't want to talk about it, lest they get, pointed out that they're a little crazy.